Folks, we're going to head over to the stage now, please.
Which way are we going?
The bald spot didn't close in, so there's just not much I can do about it. It's an honor to be here in the city of Ottawa. I know Mr. Trump and I are delighted to have the opportunity to raise the profile of the entrepreneurial experience, and I'm delighted to be on stage a little bit ahead of Mr. Donald Trump. Donald.
Well, it's an honor to be here. We're going to have a little fun today. We have a big turnout. I hear it's a total sellout. So I want to congratulate the three guys, and you and your brother worked very hard. They came to see me in New York, and they said, would you do it? Would you do it? I said, why? But we ended up making a deal, and I'm here, and I really look forward to it. It's a vibrant area. It's a great area. And I think your team's going to do very well this year. I really believe that. I think that's what the word is in New York, anyway. It's amazing when you beat the Rangers. Their payroll is slightly higher, and you seem to have their numbers, so that's okay. So congratulations on that. Okay, any questions? Don't give up. Don't quit. I've seen it so often where guys are almost there and they quit. They give up. And they're losers. Doesn't work.
One last question. What did they pay you for this?
Honestly, you know, they paid a lot of money. It goes to charity. So they really paid charity a lot of money. I came up because I was very impressed with Jim and John and the group. And I came up for that reason, I think, more than anything else. And they did pay substantially, and charity will benefit substantially, which is great.
Most important inventory in life. Your most important inventory.
My children. Now, if I gave you a different answer, wouldn't that be terrible? Wouldn't that be terrible? But no, I have great children, and they're doing very well. Ivanka, you probably heard a little bit about Ivanka. She's turned out to, I mean, she's really been amazing and doing well. We start shooting The Apprentice. And The Apprentice up in Canada has been a tremendous success. You know, it's been one of your most popular shows. We start shooting it again in about 2 weeks. And Ivanka will be on that, and Don and Eric, and then I have two younger children. So I cover a vast array. I cover from 3 to 30. That's a lot of territory. Even for a guy like you, that's a lot of territory. Anyway,
Why do you think shows about business do so well?
Well, most shows on business don't do well. In fact, when I did The Apprentice, they said, please don't do it, Mr. Trump, please don't do it, it'll be a failure. And they actually only signed me to a one-year contract. And it started at number 10 for the week, which NBC was like, couldn't believe it, because number 10 is a monster show. Then it went to 8, and then 7, and then 5, and then it went to 2, and then it became the number 1 show. And I said, I think I hit pay dirt here. You know, I didn't even have an agent. I said, I think I hit pay dirt. You know, you have the number 1 show. I was reading about how much money Jennifer Aniston and the people at Friends were making. And there were 5 or 6, and I'm 1. So I tripled it up. I said, pay me a lot of money for this extension. But it became a very successful show. But actually, they say it's the only business show that's ever made it in primetime television.
Not true. Brett stars in Dragon's Den.
I was saying, excuse me? Well, okay, go ahead. Any other question?
Ottawa, what do you think is good business advice for the city of Ottawa, capital of the country?
I think just keep going. It's really a great place. It's a very vibrant place. I noticed when I came in, I've been here twice before. I noticed when I came in, it was very, there's a beauty to it. There's a great beauty. There's a great beauty. We were discussing with the driver and everyone, the trees landing, the color of these trees. I don't know. We don't see that in New York so much. And it was just beautiful. Very vibrant area, very good area, great people.
Well, high tech is down here.
Well, high tech is down, but everything's down. Everything's down and throughout the world. Just keep plugging. It's great.
They're thinking of redeveloping this whole Lansdowne Live area, this whole complex.
Right.
What advice would you give to them about the turning to showcase?
Well, I think they have to make sure they have the right architect, the right thinking. And, you know, more important than the architect is whoever's leading it has to be the proper thinker, because they lead the architects. Rarely do the architects lead them. So make sure you have the right thinkers at the top.
Would you Tower?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Would you keep a stadium in this area if you owned it?
Well, I mean, I see what you have here, and it's been here for a long time, and it's been very successful. So I think, huh? Well, could use a little work, actually, but that's all. We won't discuss that.
Can you give us the line for the show?
You mean your ass is fired? Okay.
Political question, Mr. Trump. Just Obama's health reform pact. What do you feel? Did we get that through? Or does Congress?
I think something will get through, and you know, the United States has tremendous deficits, and it's a very big, very powerful country, but it's a country that now has been just really reeling and reeling. So the question is whether or not the United States can afford what they're talking about, and time will tell, but it's a very, very expensive package, and there are many people that, from a humanitarian standpoint, like it, from a financial standpoint, and for the long-term good, they're not so happy. I mean, there are riots in the street. If you look at what's happening at some of these town hall meetings, I've never seen anything like it. There's tremendous, on both sides, there's tremendous, really, I guess, antagonism toward Obama because of what's happened with healthcare. So you watch the polls, you see what's happening. I think he's really well-meaning. I think he wants to get something done. It's going to be tough, but I think something will get done in some form.
Do you agree with what some say that there's a racist element?
No, I don't. He got elected president. Nothing changed. So I don't believe that. I think there's a tremendous feeling. Some people love the plan they're on. They're very happy with the plan they're on. They don't want to see it changed. Yes, go ahead.
21 years old. I want to leave the biotech industry. What do I do?
Well, number one, you have to really go to college and get a great education. Did you get a great education? A+ is what college? Very good. Then I'll tell you what, maybe I'll back you. This guy looks like a he looks good. He looks good to me. He looks good to me. It's smart. Go ahead.
There's been a controversy surrounding your property in Bedford. What did you know about the deal about the tent?
Well, I have Middle Eastern partners, and I rented the property to them. It's not my estate. It is an estate, but it's one of many things I own. And I leased it to them, and they are obviously friendly with Gaddafi, and he was going to go up, but he decided not to, so that was probably made life a lot easier for everybody.
And on something completely different, how will you adapt your message, the advice you give in conferences like this one, to make it life as usable for people in the community?
Well, I think it's all the same. You know, it's interesting. If you're a great businessman, as this gentleman has proven to be, and you know, it's sort of interesting because Jim was telling me coming in, we were driving in, and he was saying, you know, when he first announced this, nobody really believed it was true, because he said, and we joked about this, he said, I'm not sure I had the credibility because I'm not a big bank, I'm not a this, I'm not a that. And then we did a couple of radio shows, and everyone said, you know, it really is true, and it's sold out. It's been a total sellout, and it's really been great. I guess you turned away a lot of people. So he was just saying he lacked credibility, but now he doesn't lack credibility anymore. Now he's going to do very well, so I'm very proud of him. He's done a good job. And you know what? I will tell you, he worked. I do these, and I raise a lot of money for charity and doing them, and it's good, but he's really worked very hard. He really has. He's worked his ass off. My people tell me, they say, you know, like, I do them for big companies, and, you know, I show up, and a lot of people show up. I don't know why, but someday you'll explain it to me. But they said, my person in New York said he worked very, very hard.
What gives you more pleasure at this point in your life, being a TV star or being a big developer?
That's a very interesting question. Well, you know, the one thing, we have a lot of developers all over, but there's only one like Apprentice in terms of the success of that show. And it's been amazing. Now, you know, I make more money with the buildings and all that, but The Apprentice has made a fortune, and it's also been a top show. It was very interesting it's a good question, actually, because it's a question I don't get asked very often. But when I first signed on about 4.5 years ago to do The Apprentice, I was in line with major stars, and they all had television. It's called the Upfronts, NBC Upfronts, where all the new shows were being introduced at Lincoln Center. So I'm standing there with my wife, and you have all these guys, some of them really handsome, these beautiful women, and they're all big stars that you know, and some that aren't so beautiful that you know also, and I won't mention names. But every show was canceled. All of their shows were canceled after like 2 runs, because 95% of the shows that go on get canceled or more. And here I am, you know, we're in the 6th year. So it's something very cool about it, right? You know. Okay.
The Pacquiao, now we talked about this in that conference call. You're a huge boxing fan, of course, you know that. Mayweather comes back after a 2-year layoff, handled Marquez easily. I know he's smaller, but Pacquiao, Mayweather.
I think it's going to be a good fight, very close. I'm a big Mayweather fan. I think he's terrific as a fighter. But, you know, when you look at Pacquiao, what he did with with Oscar and everybody else. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a great fight. Pacquiao has always been underestimated until recently. But I suspect that Mayweather could maybe win that fight.
Is the Donald Rosie war over? Is that
No.
WWE.
No. When you have enemies, keep them. Anyway, go ahead. What else? Anything else, Jim?
I just want to, we only have a few minutes left, and I just want to ask Brett, everybody knows Brett's fame on the Dragon's Den, and that's a Canadian entrepreneurial show where potential hopeful business people pitch their ideas to investors like Brett and a few others. Brett, behind the scenes on the Dragon's Den, are there any discussions or rumblings about The Apprentice? Any comparisons to that show?
That's what they were talking about.
I'm sure The Apprentice is a very good show. And I compliment Mr. Trump on taking the time to come to Canada. And I'm going to ask him one last question. Donald, what would you like to do with me in terms of real estate investing in Canada?
Well, we're building a building in Toronto, and it's going up rapidly and beautifully and selling well. And your economy is really quite a bit better than it is in the United States. So we're in Toronto right now with a wonderful group of people, and we're doing a nice job in a great location. And, I think we'll see how that one works out, but I'll be back.
I have a couple more for you.
Okay?
You want to build in Ottawa?
I would, right? Think it's a great place.
Right on.
There are plenty of places I can't say that, but this is a vibrant place. Very vibrant. Okay?
Okay, we'll just take 3 more questions. There's some journalism students here, I understand, that want to ask some questions. Brett?
Just a question. I'm from town of Prescott, and of course, Jim and John are as well. Any interest in building hotels?
Only if my boss tells me to do it.
It's done then.
Interested in building in Cornwall, Ontario, on the St. Lawrence River.
That sounds like I love rivers and oceans. I've never lost money on a river or an ocean. I just bought a lot of land in Washington, right outside of Washington, D.C., and it's 850 acres right on the river, a thing called the Potomac River. It's beautiful. And you just don't lose money on rivers or oceans. I was the one, I was called Genesco.
Yes.
And still around, I think. And they own the land on which Trump Tower in New York sits. They own Bonwood Teller at the time. So I love Nashville.
You know
I went to
Jim
Nashville
Basile?
to make that deal.
Is interested in coyotes?
What?
You know Jim Basile is interested in coyotes?
The guy behind
I
research
think
and
that's
everything.
true.
You know the controversy about it, them not allowing him to buy the team?
I don't know that now. How good an answer was that? I don't know. I don't know anything about controversy. I hope you
Looking for a business partner.
honesty and brains.
I have both.
We have time for one more question, and that's it. And unfortunately, Mr. Trump was tying me up at the airport. I was waiting for him, so I didn't get a chance to see Brett Wilson speak, but I heard he did a fantastic job. Yeah. So, thank you very much, Brett. Appreciate your participation today. And we're looking forward to Mr. Trump and his presentation momentarily. One last question, and then we're going to go right in the middle.
And the loser had to have their head shift. So if you remember, I won. Strong contract. I had a strong contract. I won, and we shaved off Vince's hair, so I didn't get there. But
would you have
No, a lot of
shaved
people
yours
have
off?
asked me
If
that
you
question.
lost,
Why
would
don't
you
you cut
shave
your hair short, or why don't you shave it? And I don't know. Anybody
You look
else
good.
shave their hair?
I think it's working for him.
Okay.
Another question?
What would you develop if you could develop something in Eastern Ontario?
Well, I always start with residential. I love it. It seems to be, something that I just like. I've always loved residential. But you really have to know your area. And in real estate, real estate is a local business. You should know your area. So whatever really is, supply and demand looks the best. That's what I do.
Brett, everybody's asking if Donald Trump would invest in Canada. How much is Brett Wilson focused on the U.S. markets?
Probably about 20% of my assets are stateside. We've been buying real estate on Santa Monica
It's
Boulevard.
honesty to a certain extent. And, on The Apprentice, it really is a microcosm of life. And I thought Joan Rivers did a terrific job. And I could have really picked Annie, but, she wasn't as popular in terms of her team. The team never liked her. That played a role. And everyone liked Joan. And I thought Joan was amazing. Joan's 76 years old, and, man, the energy she had was incredible. So It actually was a very popular choice. It could have gone either way, but it was a very popular choice. And Annie Duke was fantastic. You know, she's brilliant, great poker player, the best. They say that one of the best poker players in the world. I was going to say one of the best female poker players, but the truth is she's one of the best poker players in the world. And she was terrific. It could have gone either way, but Joan's energy was amazing. Okay? Question?
Where's the most unusual place you ever had sex?
Attaboy, Earl.
I better answer that because that'll take over the day.
Thanks, Earl.
Got some interesting questions.
Seeing how it's been drawn successfully, I'm gonna.
You know them?
I do. I know them very
Are you guys married by any chance?
My wife there.
Oh, good. I was going to say, you got to go up. Is that really? Come on over here. Come up. I should have suggested you meet Jim. He's already married her. How are you? Come on. Put your leg up.
No, I am.
Come on.
Well, just a quick question. Will this get
Very
them?
good, Jim. I'm
Will this get them on the Apprentice?
Well, this will get them a lot of money.
They have more shows.
I shouldn't have to get on the Apprentice. I should just be hired right now.
I think I'm going to put her in the Apprentice.
Oh, he inspires me.
I know. I can see. That's good. Good relationship. How long are you married?
Next question.
4 years.
You didn't know?
That wasn't in the script.
Good guy.
All right, any more?
Who do you want on the show? The next,
We have an amazing cast. It's
can
already
you
been
drop
cast.
a few names?
We have, well, I'm not allowed to yet, but it'll come out over the next 3-4 weeks. It's amazing. The cast is amazing.
Who's your dream candidate?
Well, I mean, Joan Rivers did so well that everybody, you know, it's hard to believe how many celebrities there are, to be honest. Hundreds. They give me lists of celebrities, every one of which you've heard of. And it's hundreds of people. So there are a lot of celebrities out there. But, you know, I passed and said Potvin. And Dennis Potvin was a guy that I knew, was actually a friend of my brother's, and he was a great, great hockey player. And I said, is that the same guy that I would watch on the Islanders for so many years? And he was a champion. He was great. He was a great guy. Maybe we should put him on the Apprentice. Sounds good. He was a great winner. Listen.
Do you think GM and Chrysler will survive at the end of the day?
I hope so. I think so. Certainly, they cut the hell out of their debt. Cars are selling again. I mean, the big problem is the banks aren't putting out money. You know, the banks were given a lot of money, and they're not putting it out. As anybody in this room that is a financier can tell you, the banks are not loaning money, and that's a real problem. So the banks are going to have to start loaning again so people can go out and buy cars. And others.
Did the U.S. government make a mistake and cash the flunkers? A
No, I
lot of
liked
people
it.
buy European and Japanese cars instead of
Well, I don't
American
like that. No. I would have had it so they can only buy American cars, or cars made in America, even if it's done by a Honda. I was surprised that they did that.
Well,
I am your voice.